What's going on, guys? Bio here, back with some genetic gladiators. So let's get into this today. We're going to be checking out PvP at season 132. We do only have 5 days, 18 hours left, and yeah, I did a few attacks already, but honestly I don't really actually need anything besides like the tokens, of course, but that's pretty easy to get. I mean, it doesn't actually take that long. Character I already have. Gold probably not going to go for, but we might as well at least try to get into that top 10%. Plus they do have some of the quests or whatever going on for PvP. I think I need like 10 fights or something like that in PvP. I don't remember if I have to win or if it's just 10 fights in general. I know one of them is going to be 50 at some point, so I'm probably going to have to stream that, because 50 of them, depending on how long it actually takes, could take quite a bit of time. Sometimes it's a little bit faster, like if we get people like this, of course it's going to take a lot faster. Also, another thing, I am still leveling characters, so currently Colossus is the highest leveled character, and yeah, basically we got to get these guys up. For now, we're probably just going to stick with this team because I don't think I'm going to get enough experience to max each one of these out. However, they did change some of the stats on some of the characters recently. So Colossus, I believe, got a debuff in terms of, I believe it was Retaliate, and I don't remember if they decreased his attack or not. I think it was HP was the other one. I think it was Retaliate and HP, which that kind of sucks, but I understand it a little bit because he is pretty strong. Who else? There was a few other characters, Orion, Chun-Li, like the main characters that people were using in PvP basically got debuffed. A few people did get buffs, but nothing too crazy or anything like that, so yeah, you don't have to worry about it. And I used a really good tag. I should have actually saved that for later. Oh well, my fault. Sorry if you guys can hear the fan as well. It's just hot today, so I gotta have the fan on. And yeah, that's basically about it. Just doing the PvP fights for the quest, so probably gonna get about 10 of them in, or at least try to get 10 of them in. And then I know at one point I'm gonna get to that one that's 50. I know there's the one for like PvE, which probably have to stream that one as well, unless I just want to do a ton of fights, because I already did the PvE event, which even to get to the to that other event you would have to do, I think it's upwards of like the first 50 stages or something like that in PvE. I don't remember, but basically I already did the event for PvE, so yeah, that's pretty much done. And I think I'm just gonna take down Chun-Li, even though I know she did get a debuff. I can't remember what they do have the patch notes, which you can actually go look up to actually see what they actually decreased and stuff like that. I don't know off the top of my head, because I do have those characters, I just don't have them in platinum, and I haven't even started leveling those characters, so I just don't remember. Like Colossus, of course I'm going to remember because I always use that character, so I mean that was the first one I looked at. And then I know they increased some of the other characters. Some of the other characters I didn't have anyway, so it wasn't really that big a deal. Even if I did have them, it's still not that big a deal to me, just because I'm probably not even going to use them, or people aren't going to use them even with the buff. However, now Colossus is a little bit different. The boost strategy might work a little bit better now, but I still think it's pretty bad, just because he usually just gets destroyed anyway. But now with the drop in HP, that might actually save some of the characters, because I don't know exactly how much HP they actually took away from the character, and I don't know the stat. Like if it was at 204, my previous Evo, then I would probably remember, but considering we just went up a ton of Evo levels, I have no idea what his HP's at, and it's continuing to go up. So So yeah, same with the retaliate and stuff like that. I'm not even sure how much they took off. I mean, I can go look at it, but I don't even think it says how much they took off. I think it just says decreased this stat and this stat or something like that. Unless maybe they updated the patch notes. I don't know. The ones I looked at just had a brief overview. Plus I skimmed through it pretty quick, so I didn't really look at it. But you could already see Orion, I believe. I don't remember what they did to him. I believe they dropped his attack as well. I don't remember if they increased his HP though. I could actually attack Orion here. It's just I'm gonna do around like 17-ish K damage, because I still haven't actually changed out Project X27 Orb, which I keep forgetting to do for some reason. I always like, oh, I'm gonna do it and stuff like that, and I always just forget. At some point I'm just gonna have to go do it, which would increase its attack. Yeah, I'll lose a little bit of HP, but I don't really use X27 for HP. The only reason I had the HP orb was just to survive a little bit, just like one attack, because sometimes I do happen to survive that extra one attack. That does help. But I've been facing a ton of Orions, so I think it's more beneficial to throw on the extra attack orb and try to kill people like this, and then just get it over with. Sorry about the cat, he's just gonna cry, of course, every time I record. But I don't think currently X27 could actually kill him at 20k, so we're gonna have to use my tag. And I was right, 17.4 with the extra 4 level 4 attack orb. I think I would hit closer to 20, not exactly 20, but I would hit closer to it, and my level is still going up. So like we're at 205 right now. Let's say I was at 267 and stuff like that. It'll slowly go up a little bit more, and with those attack orbs, of course, the stats themselves will increase. So I could probably do with switching that orb out. I just gotta remember to do it when I'm not recording or anything like that. I just always forget to get it done, get it out of the way, and I was hoping that would kill. It did not. He's got an extra 12. I'm gonna hit. Ooh, I think this will actually kill Buffalo, although the retaliate damage has been weakened. So let's try and see, because normal retaliate damage would probably hit for 20, upwards of 30. So let's see what happens. And 7. How much did they drop it by? Like, I know he doesn't have an extra retaliate orb, but it shouldn't have went down that much. How much did they actually take off? Because look, bleed damage, or wound damage, does more damage than retaliate damage. That shouldn't be, considering I hit him for 100k. Normally it would take off upwards of like 20-ish, 20 plus k actually. Yeah, I think they actually just destroyed his retaliate, because that's how a ton of people are actually killing people with Colossus, was the retaliate damage not actually hitting with Colossus. But then they also decreased his attack damage, so I think they should have chose one or the other. The retaliate damage I understand because of the fact that a defense team with that, I mean, it kind of sucks for people hitting him. But the attack, come on. I mean, you got Orion, like, now he's probably on par with Orion. If not, they made him worse. I don't know exactly how much they, like, I honestly don't know how much they debuffed him, basically. In terms of retaliate, what I've seen so far, it's pretty bad. The attack itself, I could look at it real quick, but like I said, my levels from my previous Evo are gonna kind of throw me off, because Colossus previous damage was 65, I believe. So unless like his attack now is under 65, even though he's a higher level, then that'll kind of show me what they took off. But yeah, we'll see, I guess. honestly, what actually we are not gonna see with this one, because we're gonna kill this guy, of course. But yeah, they did decrease a ton of characters and stuff like that, which I don't mind. I really don't mind, especially since some of the characters were technically overpowered. I actually don't think Orion, yes, he was a very hard hitter in terms of characters around his level, which basically he was a glass cannon, as which they were calling him, which they were just basically playing around with him. Not really a good idea, honestly, to have characters like that in the series or in the game itself, because the game becomes dependent upon those characters. Like, you have to have, like, I understand if they have multiple characters like that, like you get a pick between a ton of different characters, but then again, if they start creating a ton of characters like that, that's all anybody's gonna ever use, because as long as you attack first and just nuke the other team with your characters, there's really no way around that unless they build tanks, like actual tanks that can withstand that much damage, although not have a high attack, just be able to withstand damage. I don't know, there's got to be a counter to having a character like that, which I don't know, maybe they'll put out a character somewhat close, like, I'm not saying exactly like that, but somewhat close to that, because they have to counter it. There always has to be a counter to the game, and if they're gonna make characters like that, they also have to have a counter to that. Like, they would just have to have a ton of HP, which is just a wall with no attack. Like, they could have an attack, but they can't have too high of an attack, because then they would become overpowered, because they would have so much HP. So they would have the attack of, let's say, a speedster, but have double the HP. I don't know, there's a way to work around that somehow, if they want to go that route, though. That's if they want to go that route, which I can see them going down. Maybe try it out with a couple characters, but once you actually start making multiple characters like that, it's gonna come meta. It's just the way it is. Like, a team of Orions is like insane. Like, the reason they actually did Chun-Li as well was because a 3 Chun-Li team is insane. Same with 3 Orions. It's not the best team in the world, considering as long as you can tank their damage or use the opposite gen, so they wouldn't use strong attacks and they would just do base damage, you'd be fine. You could kill them because they don't have HP. But Chun-Li was a little bit of a different story, because it still had not quite the attack, but it had both. It still had enough HP to survive a couple of hits and also have the damage there. So it was kind of that weird area of mid-tier, but kind of more attack than a mid-tier, and then more HP than a regular. Like, if you put it up against the same character with same stats in terms of speed and stuff like that, it would have more of each. So yeah, I understand some of the reasons why they did it that way, but I mean, they can always change it. It's not set in stone. Some of these characters aren't set in stone, and for people that are like, oh, you should give us our money back and stuff like that because that's the only reason we bought the character. No, you bought the character because you thought it was going to be that way forever, but they never said it was going to be that way forever. And yeah, you bought the character, so that was your fault. Like, too bad. Like, I really don't feel sorry for people that spent a ton of money on these characters, because they never said that they weren't going to change their stats, and they have changed multiple character stats before, just like they changed Colossus's stats, just like they literally change a ton of character stats all the time. It just happened to be to the characters that they recently added in because they were a little bit too overpowered. Basically, they were a little bit too overpowered, and people are mad because they wanted that, but it wouldn't have been a very balanced game because it started to become PvP. Orion, Chun-Li, like there was main characters in PvP that were just becoming characters that you had to have in your team. Like Chun-Li and Orion were characters they were out of nowhere. They just started popping up in every single team that I was going up against. If not one, both. If not both, all three were like three of the same characters. Yeah, so plus they weren't even that expensive. For people complaining, oh, it's like, okay, I understand if you actually spent like 10 bucks or something on them, but why were you spending 10 bucks on them anyway? They do have sales for gold and stuff like that, which you should probably buy the gold because it's technically cheaper to buy gold in the gold sales that they have than to buy a character for money, because most of the characters, I shouldn't say most of the characters, all the characters so far, besides like some of the old characters they added in, have been $10, all the newer ones. And some of the sales for the gold at $10 prices, they give you like 5k or more. So yeah, that was a bad choice to spend that much. But in terms of gold, yes, 3k is quite a bit to spend on a character, but you gotta understand that could happen with any character. So don't think just because a character's stats are that way for a long time. Look at Colossus, for example. It's changed twice already. It's changed twice in the time Colossus has been out. Surfer, I think, changed, I don't know, there's a few characters that have changed more than twice. So, and some of the characters have been in longer. Like some of them get buffs, some of them get debuffs. They do play around with a character's stats. So if you're looking at a character and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this character for this reason, just know it might not stay that way forever because they do have to balance the game. And that also becomes true when they add in more characters, because the more characters you have, you do have to balance the older characters as well. So like, because they're adding in so many characters, the older characters have to get a buff at some point to keep up with the newer characters, because they keep adding in newer characters with higher stats, which of course is how the game goes. But if they continue to do that, only new characters are going to be worth something, and then the older characters aren't going to be worth anything. But they're trying to sell older characters as well, so they gotta like buff them a little bit or balance characters, because some characters become insanely strong because of new addition. Like let's say they add in the whole like wound damage and all that, the abilities that they added in. Some characters actually became a lot stronger after that was added in than before, when they didn't have an ability, because let's say they got retaliate damage, they got like something that actually helped them a lot more than what they were doing before. So you just got to be careful when you're buying characters. Like you just gotta decide if you're willing to, I know that thing's gonna die, but do I want to get hit by it is the question. I don't, so we're just gonna kill it. Yeah, that you just gotta decide if it's gonna be worth it. Just because a character is strong the first time it comes out doesn't mean it's gonna be strong forever. Plus, it doesn't mean it's gonna be the best character always. Cause look at Zinger, look at Thor, look at Buck. Like all these characters used to be top tier characters. Now you don't see him at all. Look at X-27, used to be Zombat, or I think it's Zombat, used to be the fastest character. Not true anymore. It used to be like meta, like that's all you used to see in PvP. Like that's it. That was the character to use. But it's going to continue to do that, especially with the new additions to characters that they're adding in. So just watch out. just be careful when you're buying characters, and yeah, just know that a character's stats can always change, and it can change more than once. Like, if they don't like it the way it is now, like they took off too much damage, or they took off too much HP, or they didn't take off enough, they will go back in and add the changes they need to. So yeah, it just helps the game out, because when a character takes over like that, that's a little bit too much of a takeover, because like they were literally everywhere the day, like I wouldn't say the day after, but close to the day after they came out. They were literally in every PvP team, which got kind of annoying after a while, because then you got to build teams to counter that, which some people don't have. Some people don't have that kind of money to, or that kind of gold. It's not necessarily money, but the kind of gold or time or anything like that to put into raising counter teams and or raising those characters in the first place. So just watch out for that, and make sure not to put all your time into certain characters, because you never know, honestly. Plus, they'll probably come out with better characters, or if they are going to continue with the trend of glass cannons or straight up walls and like counters to those, then it's going to be interesting to see, honestly, because you can have a defense team that just can tank a ton of damage, and then it can have a whole team of glass cannons basically, or I don't know. There's a ton of different stuff I guess they're playing with, so we'll see what kind of stuff that they add into characters, because they could have more speed pretty soon, because right now the top tier speed character I think is like 13 speed, but you never know, we could break that. We can go to 15. Well, that's before they add in the extra orbs, by the way, like the speed orbs. I'm talking about base damage speed. There isn't anybody who has passed that like 14, 15 speed threshold, which would be insane to have like somebody that fast. Although, what would they do then? They would have to either have like the damage couldn't be too high, the HP couldn't be too much, or maybe they have a ton of HP, just not a lot of attack, or like there's got to be a balance. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. Let me know if you guys are going for the character in PvP. I'll try to get out more of these. I am probably going to be doing one for like a stream or something like that, just for the this. So I actually need 3 more fights. I'll probably do the 3 fights off when I'm not recording, but we're almost to the 50 fights anyway, so whenever I actually get that, I'll probably stream and get all of them done at once. I think last time I did that, it took me about 2.5 hours, close to 3 hours or something like that. So we'll see how that actually plays out. Plus, we still need to level our characters, by the way, because like these guys aren't max level. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But that's gonna be about it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think about the new changes, because I know a ton of people started leveling Orions, Chunglies, and stuff like that. Let me know if you're still gonna actually use them. They're still really good. They just got scaled back a little bit because they were too good for some of the characters that we had out now. So we'll talk to you guys later.